Welcome to the Jody Mitic podcast number 35. Before we hop right into this thing, we got a couple of sponsors that keep this little dog and pony show moving here, so let's get to those first. First up, we have StrongBarsNutrition.com, pure strength protein bars, the best protein bar, not your regular protein bar. This is a premium brand of bars, basically made to order. They're always fresh, always coming to you fresh when you get on the website and order them. StrongBarsNutrition.com, always made with organic, natural, pure, simple ingredients. They contain the highest quality protein available on the planet. That's that New Zealand way. That's where that's coming from. No artificial chemicals, flavors, or preservatives. Nothing's been added to this thing. I was stuck painting the better portion of my house today and kept myself fueled up on StrongBarsNutrition.com, the pure strength protein bars. So go ahead and get yourself some at StrongBarsNutrition.com. Use the promo code MITIC, M-I-T-I-C, in capital letters. Those are the big ones. And get yourself 10% off. StrongBarsNutrition.com. Use the promo code MITIC, M-I-T-I-C, capital letters, to get 10% off. We also have little Firehouse Coffee Roasters. You can find these guys on Facebook as Firehouse Coffee Roasters. That's Firehaus, like the Germans. Coffee Roasters on Facebook. Small batch coffee roaster. The best beans that you're going to find around. Okay, I stumbled on these guys a long time ago. Glenn, he's a local firefighter who's got this brand for himself, the best coffee going. I stumbled onto him because I smelled him roasting the beans, and I followed my nose like a toucan all the way to the best coffee around here. So you can get yourself some. Find it, Firehouse Coffee Roasters on Facebook. Send Glenn a message. He's going to hit you up with the best coffee going. We also have a little book that helps this thing run. It's called Unflinching, The Making of a Canadian Sniper, written by one Jody Mitic. You can find this thing at Chapters, Indigo, Barnes & Noble, online, and especially at the JodyMiticPodcast.com website. Go ahead and use the Amazon click-through, and that's going to help support the podcast right there. So it's Unflinching, The Making of a Canadian Sniper. Now, before we jump into this thing with our special guest, he's big in the MMA world around here, and we get a little inside on the MMA, and it may be very relevant here in Ottawa, and if you're local to the scene, you're going to be hip to this groove. If not, you might find that we're talking a little bit of inside baseball, but Nick's a great dude. We're going to have him back on the show, so if there's questions that come up from this show, send us to him, and we're going to get him back in soon, so you can hit us up on that. But for now, enjoy the show.
Are you recording?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is for Nick. Oh, hey, that's fun. This is how we roll, featuring Luke, something.
Luke Bryan,
the Florida Georgia
name
line
in country right now.
Luke Bryan is?
Yeah, he's huge.
He's got two first names. I'm supposed to trust this guy?
Yeah, no thanks.
So,
Thanks.
Jody Mitic podcast episode
35.
Sank. 35. Wait.
C'est bon.
And I'm pretty stoked because sitting across from me is one of the most deadly humans in the planet. Man, I met 09?
Yeah.
When was that fight for the troops?
09 or 08? I forget.
Might have been, I think it was 09. Highly regarded martial artist in this part of the world anyway. Massive human being. Bro, you've been bulking up, eh?
It was the kids. I had kids.
Yeah, I know. So did I. I got a little fat. So Ottawa Academy of Martial Arts, head manager, trainer? Like, what do we call you? What's your title?
I would say one of the general managers.
Put the microphone right
with Matt
yeah.
Hache. One of the general managers. The
Okay.
other general manager is Matt Hache, and we oversee all the
Hammer Hache.
Hammer Hache.
Fucking love that guy.
Yeah, he's salt of the earth. He's a
Yeah.
good human. We oversee all the locations, the 7 locations we have, soon to be 8. 1 in Florida
Dope.
because we hate winter.
Yeah. Who doesn't?
Good idea.
So the Ottawa Academy of Martial Arts is one of the originals in Ottawa, way before it was popular, if I understand the history correctly. When I was looking around, when I first moved to this town for like-minded people who weren't necessarily military, Nick and I found each other, and it's been a bromance ever since. But the last time you and I were actually sharing the same oxygen was probably
Al's Diner.
Al's Diner. What?
Yep, Al's Diner.
Which one's that? Where? Wasn't that
went-
long ago though? Actually.
We went to eat and you gave me a signed copy of your book.
Oh, yeah,
No.
yeah.
I brought your book. I bought your book, and you
For your
signed
dad.
it for my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Nick's one of these guys like you and me. Like, don't see him for 2 years, pick it right up.
Right, yeah, right.
Hey, what's up, homie? Like, you
Yep.
don't even like
Right where I left off.
right where we left off.
Yeah.
You know, he's had some kids. I've had some kids. You know, things have happened. I, won an election, wrote a book. He's like opened 10 jiu-jitsu studio. Like, what do you call them? Studios, dojos, gyms,
We say academies.
academy.
Yeah, we call it an
And
academy.
and I was gonna train, but at the time, the location on Carling was just too far for me. So I was waiting for one on the East End, and you guys have one now, and
Yes.
I don't have time to train. But anyway, man, it's really awesome to have you here, and I'm really excited because I've been following all your success on social media. Before we recorded, you were talking about Rec is blowing up, Rec MMA, which is your fight organization.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell the fine listeners who are worldwide, by the way, Jody Mitic listeners are world fucking wide.
That's amazing.
So introduce them to what Rec MMA is and what you guys want to achieve with it in the 5 years.
Probably the upcoming 5 years. Well, I was talking to actually, and it's funny because I said I'd name drop them anyways to you guys.
Nice.
Josh Connor and of Arms Race Productions. Name drop.
Am I supposed to know that name?
You will know him. He wants to meet you.
I apologize, Josh, if I know you. I don't remember. Does he knows me or he knows of
No,
me?
he knows. He's a big fan of yours. He's a big fan of the podcast.
Oh, well,
He-
Josh. Hey, bro, we got a T-shirt for you.
Actually, now that you've said arms race, I think I've seen that come up in likes and retweets and stuff like that. That rings a bell.
Yeah.
Is he one of our Twitter fans?
I think so.
Oh,
And he also produces all of the rec fights that we video.
did I meet him at the fight that I came to a year or so ago?
That's what I was thinking, but I don't think you did
Okay.
because I was talking to him about that.
Closer to
tonight.
the microphone. Closer.
I was talking to him about that
Yeah,
tonight. Actually,
yeah.
we were talking about, and we were actually talking about where rec's going to be in the future.
Okay.
And I don't want to say because I hate saying things and then they don't come through or
Right.
whatever. I'd rather say less and then make a big boom
Under promise,
later.
over deliver.
That's right. That's actually it's funny. Pat, best friend, mentor, instructor.
Yeah.
He says that all the time.
Yeah.
He's always under promise, so I'd over deliver.
Right. Yeah. Good policy.
That's a great policy.
Right.
But yeah, so the next 5 years, definitely, we got 6 or 7 shows between now and June 17th. So that's really busy. And
Holy
then,
between now and June 17th.
yeah,
Just popping
Yeah.
them off.
yeah. And then, we're probably gonna take a bit of a break in the summer, fingers crossed, unless we're going somewhere else in the world. I was talking with somebody about doing one in Dubai.
Right.
So,
Under the
yes.
Rec banner.
yeah, under the rec banner. I
And
don't know.
are these next 6 or 7 or whatever going to be in Ottawa, or where are they happening?
One of them's in Ottawa.
Okay. And
You
where
know,
else are you guys going?
We just had one, Oshawa.
Okay.
Then we got Lindsay, Sault Ste. Marie,
So this is all Ontario,
Ottawa,
right?
Cornwall the next day, and Brantford. So that's 6. That's 6. And are we going to do something else? Oh, man. I don't know. My head. No. I think that's
Anything
it.
in Quebec?
No. There's a big, I'm not sure if you guys heard about, the hammer coming down in Quebec on like combat sports.
Wasn't it the World's Karate Championship or something was about to happen, and the cops showed up and started literally writing like fines?
No, I think it was the actually, the true story that is not often spoken
You're
about.
going to give us some inside
some
scoops?
dirt.
Oh.
So somebody was going to be holding a show at, an MMA show. I'm not going to say who the promoter was because I don't need the beef. I have enough beefs. But so he's going to hold a show, and apparently the thing that drew the attention to the show was that he announced a weapons fight before the MMA card.
Yikes.
A demo.
That
a fight.
2 men would battle with weapons in the
Dun,
cage.
dun, dun.
And then,
What, no lion? Let's really get it going. I might start my own thing, actually.
Tigers lit on fire.
Yeah.
So anyways, like, I remember when I heard this, I was like, and, people call me and they say, Nick, because all the promoters talk, Nick, did you hear what this guy's doing? I'm like, no, what's he doing? He's going to have a weapons fight, to open the night. I'm like a real weapons fight? Like, is this
What are you talking,
real?
like sticks?
I don't recall because I thought it was ridiculous. And then apparently that drew a lot of attention to that show.
Right.
And then the police had phoned that day and said, okay, give us your doctor's name. Prove to us you have a doctor at the show.
Oh,
And
like the ringside doctor.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like for anybody who holds shows knows, you always got to have medical staff there.
100%.
Doctor for sure. If you're doing MMA, you got to have a doctor.
Minimum,
there.
you have like an ambulance on standby, right?
Depends. Yeah, on pro, you must have a ambulance there, with paramedics, and an amateur, you need at least a doctor.
Right.
So yeah.
They asked for his doctor's name.
They asked for the doctor, and there was no doctor. And then they said, well, you have this many hours. It was the same day of the event. You have this many hours to turn up the doctor's name. And then apparently the organization could not. This could all be hearsay, but I feel like it's coming from a strong, reputable source.
Right.
And
reputable.
Reputable
means
reputable.
We don't want to hear them.
So yeah, and then that show got shut down because they didn't have a doctor. And then from that,
yeah,
they went back to the criminal code and said, you know what, really, this stuff is like
technically
gray,
illegal.
Technically illegal, technically
in Quebec.
Yes,
because it falls under prize fighting or something, which it was the same in Ontario until they changed it.
Yes. So then the police just said, yep, that's it. Nothing's going on here anymore. Not even jiu-jitsu.
But wasn't it actually a jiu-jitsu tournament?
Yes, it was. It was the jiu-jitsu tournament that they created massive
and people from
issues with.
Not necessarily around the world were there, but a lot of people from out of town were there. And the
people
day
from
of
all
the
over
event.
Canada. People from all over Canada.
But the day of the event is when it got canceled.
Yes, yeah.
And I remember watching the news and they were like, yeah, I guess
I was actually
spent all this money to get here, and
Yikes.
I guess I'll just enjoy the French culture or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was speaking to one of the guys who's helping organize it, Martin, and Martin was calling me and giving me the updates on what's going on because we had competitors in it. And I was just like, oh my God, this is such a disaster.
Yeah.
And I gave him a couple of, what I thought were solutions, last minute solutions, but it just logistically wouldn't have been possible under that short amount of time.
Like you guys were going to try and like put something together real quick, or?
Well, yeah, I gave, I told Martin what I thought were some of the best, options to do. And he's like, yeah, okay, I'll think about it, or I'll bring it back to Fabio, because Fabio Holanda was the the one taking care of the tournament, but they rescheduled it for the next week in Ottawa with the work. They got some other guys to help them, put it on. I believe Ben Morales was instrumental in that, and I know another guy in the community, in the combat community, Rohit, also helped make that happen as well. So yeah, they were able to pull it out.
How many of the original competitors managed to get back?
Oh man, I have no idea. I just know it was
that would just suck, eh? You show up, you're ready to, because that tournament would have qualified some of them for another tournament. If I remember correctly.
So if you won, the absolute in that tournament, like you got, a free trip to Abu Dhabi to compete.
That's it. To the what's that?
Right.
It's everyone just calls it Abu Dhabi.
Yeah,
and it's put on by
well,
Prince.
Yeah,
what's
UAE.
his name?
Yeah,
we were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
he's the one that said all school kids will learn jiu-jitsu in Dubai and stuff.
So something actually, I'm saying yes, but I don't know. But
you're like, yeah, for sure, bro. Yeah. We don't.
That guy.
We don't have a Google guy. We used to have a Google guy.
Sounds good though.
That sounds dope.
Yeah.
So okay, how do we get on that topic?
Well,
because you can't do fights in Quebec now but your first rec was in Quebec, at the arena.
Yes, yeah. Well, I can still do the pro shows in Quebec.
Oh, it's just amateur shows that they don't allow.
Amateur shows, yeah. And I've been trying to line up the pro show for Quebec, actually.
So, because I remember this article, I remember seeing it, but like, what's the difference between amateur prize fighting and pro prize fighting? By the law, like, why do they care?
Like, I can't give the explanation exactly on that. I can tell you, like, the situation in Ontario, what's going on, as per amateur. I can't speak for Quebec, but right now in Ontario, there are several groups that are, if you want to use the word fighting, they're fighting to try and get the recognition, what they call the PSO right now.
What's that? PSO means?
I believe it means Provincial Sport Organization. So the PSO
yep, you're right.
Representative for the sport of MMA, and they're working with the Ministry of Ontario. There was a couple organizations in the running. Now there seems to be two that are competing against each other to have the official PSO. One is the Amateur Mixed Martial Arts.
Oh, so to be like the association.
Yeah, the association.
The Ontario, anybody would, like the umbrella organization that you'd have to qualify or buy into to run your shows.
That's right. And AMAO is fighting for it right now, and that's the main organization that has been taking care of the amateur mixed martial arts events in Ontario for like the last 2 years. There is another organization, OGA, and they're okay, but they're really inactive, and there's not a whole lot going on in Ontario with them. And AMAO is really, like I moved all our shows into the AMAO organization. There was another organization that was helping, but I didn't think that, to be honest, I thought AMAO got the PSO, so that's why I started holding shows with them.
But no one has it.
But nobody has it exactly.
Does anyone have the NSO? The national?
I'm not, you know what? I'm not sure about that right now at this point.
It's interesting.
Like I don't want to say, oh yeah, this person for sure, but
okay,
but I'm not sure if they have.
But what you're saying is, under the law, if you don't have a PSO or an NSO, like that disqualifies you from holding events, or
the
prize fighting.
The PSO is what gives the official recognition. So, for instance, like a big thing, like right now, say in Ontario, say you want to hold a pro-am show.
Right.
Okay. So say you want to have amateur fights and pro fights, same card.
Right.
You can't do that technically. Okay. Because the amateur fights are not officially recognized by the government.
Right. But
they're still allowing it to happen because everybody who's in the scene, including the Ministry of Ontario, knows that it is in the works. Like it was supposed to be sorted out in the last 2 months. There is literally it is literally one point that is keeping AMAO from receiving the official PSO status.
What is that?
International recognition.
So the international MMA isn't helping out?
They are in talks with EMAF right now, International Mixed Martial Arts Federation, to receive that recognition, because another organization has that recognition, but that organization is not. They're just not doing a lot with it. And
Right.
and you know what? Like, because I'm gonna post this podcast, and you know, if I post that I'm talking about amateur MMA, all these people are gonna listen. So people are going to be like, oh, you're talking shit about, you know, OGA and that. And man, I used to be with OGA.
Yeah.
But, you know, and like Rohit, he's a good guy. He's a good person. But it was a bit of a gong show a little bit. You know, so I had to move on to something better. You know, I stayed with WKF for a long time.
What's WKF stand for?
It was World Kickboxing Federation.
Okay.
Because you could do Thai boxing and MMA on the same show.
Right.
Okay, and you could do it in the ring, and you know what? It just made it easier for the cards. Some people wanted to see the Thai boxing fights. Some people wanted to see the MMA fights. So that, you know, was why I did that. And then, you know, I've heard, or I had thought, that AMA was getting the PSO, and I believe in what they're doing. I attended their AGM. I really like the vision and everything. So I got behind that organization, and I moved us to that. Also, that being said, WKF lost its recognition. Not lost its recognition. It didn't receive recognition for the Thai boxing.
Oh.
Muay Thai Ontario did. So I can't do Thai boxing and MMA on a card anymore anyways. You know what I mean? So I had to make a choice of what was going to work best for me for MMA. And you know, I believe in the vision of AMAO and what they're doing. And you know, another thing I really like about AMAO, and you know, they just did our show. This is the first show we did with them in Oshawa. You know, and we were talking about how it's hard, you know, sometimes guys get smucked in the back of the head or grazed in the back of the head, and it's like one punch in the back of the head, two in the face, one graze on the back of the head, you know, and it's like, and it bothered me because I saw it happen in a couple fights, you know. And like in amateur sport, you're always...
You mean like it would happen and the ref wouldn't call it, or... Yeah,
it's not that they went... You know, I don't even fault the ref because I get it. Because they're like, well, what do I do? He's already started punching him in the face again. You know what I mean? Like, like it was a slip or it was an accident. But you know what? I brought a concern to them. I said, guys, you know what? Like we need to do something if this happens. Like, we need to do... you know, we should look to stand him up. You know? We should automatic stand up, give a warning... You know, let the fighter know, and then, because most of the time it happens is on the ground.
Of course.
You know, but if you give an official break and you say, you know, I'm not saying
treat it like a kick in the nuts
for a pro.
5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And say like, hey, you know, like you can't do that. You need to be more careful. And I think in amateur, you know, you need to protect the athletes. And I think so. And I think, but I'm saying that to say that as an organization, you know what, they took what I said. They sat down, had a meeting about it, and said, hey, you know what Nick's saying is right, so we're going to do that. So they started to educate the referees, and you know what, that's the type of organization you want, that's growing and changing and moving forward,
willing to change protocol and stuff like that to grow and so. But if I'm an amateur, what's the difference between me and a pro? And our fights?
Pros get paid.
There you go.
That's the main one. Pros get paid. You know, not
so amateur fighters don't get paid.
You know, sometimes some guys make a deal with the promoter. They get a certain percentage off of the tickets. You know, like I give everybody a percentage off of their ticket sales and that. But yeah, that's really, you know, how they would make the money. You know?
Right. But so like in the Olympics, you don't get paid, so you're an amateur athlete.
That's right.
Right. Okay. So that makes sense.
You know, but some amateurs get a lot of sponsorship and they find the money that way. You know.
Yeah. Sorry, man. You gotta make love to the microphone.
I know. I'm not used to being.
The people want to hear you.
Right. It's good.
Well, we don't have a studio, right? We just got this little recorder right here.
It's all good.
The microphones are worth more than that thing.
I'm kissing the microphone.
So am I. Look at this. I'm licking the tip.
But yeah, for. You know, that's the main difference is the pay, and then the round duration. You know, the round duration.
Okay, so amateurs are what, 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
Okay.
3
Yeah.
minutes, and for pros is 5 minutes.
So why would anyone care if you had like 5 undercard amateurs fights and then you had like a main card of pros? Like, why would that matter?
It's just
Is it politics or is it regulation or is it?
I think it's regulation is one thing. It's just it's not organized yet. The way it's not organized and recognized by the government. That's the best way to put it.
Sorry, but what isn't? I've been to like 5 of your events.
Yeah, no, the amateur shows are not.
Okay, so the last show I was at the Italian Culture Center was amateur.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was a pro. I thought they were paid fighters.
Yeah, you must have, probably because I did a really good job.
Yeah, well, I was. I think you had me well lubricated that night as well.
Took care of it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, I want to rewind a little bit because the Jody Mitic podcast listeners are loyal, and they're gonna come. Well, I mean, some of them are gonna come knock on your door. Let's talk a little bit about Nick. You're from Ottawa.
Yes.
Born and raised.
Yes.
Right. When did you start the jiu-jitsu?
I started traditional jiu-jitsu when I was 10 years old. Because I was
at the YMCA
as a wiener, getting beat up
as
all
a
the
wiener.
time. I was a wiener,
Is that
wiener.
what you call the new guys?
Yeah.
Or this is what you call yourself?
Yeah, that's just what I called myself at that age. As like a,
But why? What made you take jiu-jitsu at 10? So
Just getting
what's that?
beat
That's
up.
20
Just getting
years
beat
ago?
up,
25 years ago? You
Yeah.
got beat up a lot.
Yeah, I was getting beat up, and my dad, he was always like, "You need to fight back." My father was not the, "Hey, no, you need to talk it out. You need to be friends." My dad was like, "No, you need to smash them," And I was like, "But Dad,
Rip their arms off and beat them to death
I
with
don't
them.
know how,
That's right.
Dad."
But he wouldn't sit down with you and show you how to throw a right hook or anything, or
No, I don't even think my dad knew how to do that really at that point in time. He's a 4th degree black belt now in karate.
oh shit, oh wow.
But
When you were 10, his advice was learn how to.
yeah, he's just like, yeah, fight them, stand up for yourself. And I was like, oh, I'm afraid, and all the normal stuff that like I think kids that aren't tough,
Yeah.
say, oh, I don't want to do that, or so my dad put me in jiu-jitsu at Hisco.
So what
10
year
years
would
old.
that have been? What year were you born? 82?
Yep.
So that would have been like 92.
Yep.
Like, was the UFC even around in 92?
No,
Like,
95,
I
I
think
think.
95. Yeah, 95.
I
was
watched
the
the first UFC with my dad on
Yeah.
the black box.
So where were you in 92 that you found jiu-jitsu?
Ottawa. But it was at Ed Hisco's, so it was like under the Terrier Organization of Jiu-Jitsu, the Kanryu Jiu-Jitsu system.
Which is that Japanese jiu-jitsu? then?
Japanese
Okay.
jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then, I was there for, I don't know, maybe a year or 2 years, and then I was still playing competitive hockey. And so I was kind of in and out of martial arts while I was playing competitive hockey. I was like the goon in competitive hockey. What a change from like the guy who can't fight to like the guy who only fights. And then 14, I started doing like karate again.
Okay. What do you mean
So-
again? So you took karate after jiu-jitsu or before?
Yeah, I took karate a bit, after jiu-jitsu, but it wasn't serious. And then I found this club with my dad when I was 14 or 15, probably 14, because
Yeah.
I got my black belt. It took me 5 years to get my black belt, maybe 13,
Okay.
I think, because I got my
When'd you-
black belt when I was, I think, 18 in karate.
Okay.
And then, and I did a lot of cool stuff with that, but I was always trying to push the envelope in karate. Like, no matter what the rules were, it wasn't enough. It's like, I did karate, and then I would ask my teacher to put me in kickboxing fights. I sucked. It was terrible. But I just wanted to fight. Like, I
Yeah.
wanted to fight and learn how to fight. And
So
Test
were you
myself.
taking point karate or combat karate? Do you remember?
it was traditional karate.
So combat?
Yeah,
Or,
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, it's not.
It's not Olympic karate.
I don't think there is Olympic karate.
Yeah.
Like Taekwondo. Taekwondo's Olympic, though.
Well, the Olympic karate is point based.
Yeah, like there would be point fighting, but
Yeah.
it was, yeah. Anyways, and I
Like
remember
the Machida, what's his name?
Lyoto.
Lyoto Machida, his dad taught him like combat karate, where you don't stop because you punched him in the face and you get a point. You
Oh, okay.
continue
Yeah,
till
yeah.
you,
We
like,
did
kill
point
him.
fighting. Yeah, we did point fighting.
Yeah, okay.
And then I wanted to do kickboxing, and I did. I don't know, a couple matches in kickboxing. I wasn't great at it. I think I won one fight or 2 fights. I don't even remember. 2 fights maybe. I don't remember. And then I met Pat, my buddy. Dana introduced me to Pat when I was like 18 years old. Yeah, 18 years old or 19 years old. Just turned 19 or something like that. And I met Pat, and I started training with him then in his sister's basement a long time ago. So we started training
Here,
there.
tilt the mic up. No, up. The other way. Other way. Does it? Oh, will it not go that way? Oh, shit. Don't break it. Sorry. I'm trying to make it easier for you to hold it.
Yeah,
The people need to hear you.
I suck at this.
No, you're fine. So we've known each other since it's going on 9 years ish.
Yes.
So when I met you, you were about 24, 26 maybe.
First show,
The first rec show,
professional show we ever did. is when I met you.
and so you were already integral in OMA. So did you and Pat build the business together?
There's a couple of us that were involved, like, not on like a business level, but we were just there all the time. There was me, there's Matt Hache, and Mark Holz. We were the 3 guys that were at
Boots.
Yeah, Boots. We were the ones who were there all the time, and yeah, you know, like even before OMA, Pat rented space in the karate school I was training at. Like, I brought him there and I said, hey, you know, like, bro, you should teach out of here. You know, they have space, you know. He talked to Sensei Mike, and then he started running it there 3 days a week, and then he's running it out of his cousin's Terrier place 3 days a week. So, you know, and I would follow him around, and I would train there, you know, train with him 6 days a week. I do conditioning with him 3 times a week, and I would also do boxing as well.
Holy shit.
So I was pretty much just doing what I wanted to do, you know, following him around, training and learning, and it was pretty, you know, it was pretty cool for me because I was like, I could see the immediate difference that training with him made. And you know what, like
What difference in what way?
Because like
What line of jiu-jitsu does he come from?
Brazilian
No,
jiu-jitsu.
but which family, which name?
Renzo Gracie jiu-jitsu.
Gracie, okay.
Yeah. He was under Hickson first, which a lot of people don't know. And Hickson is like, if you say Hickson Gracie in the jiu-jitsu circles, everyone's like, oh my God, you know. Hickson is the bomb. Like, he's the best, you know, like he was like the warrior, you know, for many years.
Right.
And Hickson had a tragedy in his life, and he told Pat, he said, you know, listen, like, you know, I don't know how much I'm going to be around here. Maybe, you know, you go see my cousin Helson has a place in New York. Henzo has a place in New York, you know.
Right.
And then...
and this is in the 80s or 90s?
This is in the 90s. Well, 90s or like near, like, what was...
So this is like the deep roots of North American Brazilian jiu-jitsu MMA stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Pat's been doing it for a long time. So...
Holy shit.
Yeah. He's been doing it for a long time. Definitely one of like the original guys in Canada, you know,
Right.
and like, you know, now he has definitely, I think, the biggest team in Canada, Pat.
The biggest group
team,
of like
because
students.
he's got our studios, but then he's got all the affiliates. Like I don't know how many affiliates he has off the top of my head, but I think
affiliates
it's like
with OMA.
With the Team Henzo Gracie Ottawa.
Okay.
So with like our, you know, they're under him directly, you know. So he definitely, I think he has the biggest. Actually, I'm confident I can say he has the biggest jiu-jitsu.
So his
team
lineage
right
though is from Henzo, out of New York.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
correct. You know.
Wow.
Yeah, since he was a blue belt.
Yeah.
So
You know, a lot of anyone who doesn't know anything about martial arts is probably like turned off the podcast by now.
Right.
But people who know are like probably fascinated by this because
Yeah.
I know a little bit, and you know, I told you I was at the Eddie Bravo Invitational.
Yeah.
When was that? 2 years ago? Something
Yeah,
like
it's about that.
And I remember talking to my buddy Tate about because I'm seeing real jiu-jitsu for the first time. You know, I'm used to MMA jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And I'm asking him like the lineages and the families and the Gracies and there's all the splits and this Gracie talks shit on that Gracie and everyone's trying to sell their system and he's trying to explain it all to me. But the one thing that everybody there's Henzo is and who's the first guy you mentioned?
Hickson.
Hickson's the older guy, right? Yeah,
he's a bit older.
Hickson and Henzo, and then there's the
Horian. Horian was a creator at the UFC. He was a real business-minded one.
Yeah, but they're like everyone talks about them with respect from what I've seen. Like I was managed to be in a room full of killers. Like I'm pretty good with a rifle at about 800. But these guys, like I'm sitting there like, don't piss anybody off. And listening to them talk, and they all had just respect for the guys that came here from Brazil and Japan and started the whole jiu-jitsu movement. And, none of them had anything bad to say about those names, right? And then you go forward a generation or two, and suddenly it's, fuck that guy, and this guy's a dick, and it's you're like, oh, okay.
Do you know what he did?
And I'm like, no, I don't know anything, actually. I'm just a spectator.
Yeah, for sure.
So talk to me about Rec. What's Rec's 5 years? We started this a few minutes ago, and we kind of got sidetracked, but you're doing the 6 shows in Ontario.
Yeah, and we have like...
And you were talking about Florida, or is that for the academy?
Yeah, that's for Wama. But, just touching back on Rec, like I know I think we've got 8 shows planned for the fall. So between September and the end of December.
Okay.
There's eight shows.
So you're going to take August off.
August, there will be a show. There might be 2 shows in August.
So you're taking August off?
No, there might be 2 shows in August.
Bro, when do you sleep? Don't you have kids now?
Yeah, I have kids. But, it's like I was saying earlier, like I spend 3 hours, or sometimes 3.5 hours with them every morning. Like
how old are your kids?
2.5 and 1.5.
Oh,
and
buddy.
number 3 arrives in September. 3 under 3.
What? Boys, girls?
You're a wild man.
Boys. I got 2 boys right now, and they couldn't tell what the other one was because the baby's legs were too close together.
Uh-oh. There could be 3 little Nick Castiglias running around.
We're in trouble. Everyone's in trouble.
The world is in deep shit.
The world said we need more of this badass DNA.
That's right.
Shit is coming down. And then I had girls.
Yep.
So you know what that means. we gotta breed.
Yeah.
We gotta set some shit up.
Gotta start a team.
And we gotta start setting up a lineage of awesomeness.
A new human race.
Yeah. I just taught protectors of Canada, maybe.
Or something like that.
I don't know.
I prefer
our wives are
the elite human race.
Yeah. Settle down now.
Is it going off the rails here?
Well, there's just certain people out there that would love to interpret your words a certain way. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Remember that.
Yes,
we're in a world of sensitivity.
Yes.
And exaggeration and an assumption of words and actions.
We might have to edit that part out.
Negative.
Absolutely not.
I don't think it. I won't say the word. I'm just saying some people that don't like you anyway might say something. So who cares? Fuck those people.
Yeah.
All right. So what else do I want to ask you?
Rec 5 years. But yeah, that's for at least the end of the year. That's where we're headed. I would like to hold 1 to 2 pro shows because I also work with or for TKO. TKO is like the hottest show in Canada right now. And, I just, I help Steph with whatever he needs, finding opponents for certain fighters or if he gets stuck in a
So that's an organization though?
Yeah. This is like the organization in Canada.
MMA
right
or boxing or
MMA.
So actually I wanted to ask you this earlier. Sorry. Could you have a show where there was an MMA fight and then a boxing match and then a kickboxing match and then
No, you couldn't.
Wrestling? No, you can't do that, eh?
Can't. Yeah.
And why is that?
Somebody tried to do that.
Is that regulation? Or is that just like...
You know what? I was helping a guy.
Yeah.
He actually had...
Because technically that's like the first UFC. Whatever, right? Like there's no real set program. It's
like you could do it on a reserve maybe, but you know there's no place
but why is it a regulation that you can't do that?
Like, what do they care?
Well,
as long as you have your doctor and all your whatever, what do they care what style is in the ring?
I know.
No, I'm sure there's a good reason. Just
like, you know, I can explain why Quebec cares, and they just don't do it like that, and that's it.
Just because someone decided at one point.
Well, you know, I think you can do boxing and MMA on the same card.
Right.
Or actually, I know you can do that on the same card because they have done that.
Yep.
But you can't do boxing, MMA, grappling, and like a WWE style wrestling match, because a guy actually, you know, consulted with me because he wanted to do that, and he had all these big names, and he's like,
no, but WWE isn't real.
Yeah, I know, but he wanted to have Rey Mysterio Jr. fight a normal person off the street, wrestling style.
Yeah.
In a match, and he wanted, like, he had all these legends who...
Like before the MMA started or something?
No, this is the same time MMA was going. No, he just had a lot of eccentric ideas, you know, some of which he's pulled off, but, you know, none really successfully, but...
I just, it's what you said that earlier, like, oh, it was great to be under that organization because I could have Thai boxing and MMA on the same card.
Yes.
And I'm like, why couldn't you just do that anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. You can't. It's just the way things are. You just can't do it.
Okay.
So
there you go.
Unfortunately.
Government gets involved and all gets fucked up.
Somebody just decided.
Way to go. Regulate, tax, burden, red tape.
Yeah.
They're messing with my business.
You're messing with your pocket.
But no, you know, you figure out a way around it. You adapt, you overcome, and that's
good stuff.
It.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So let's change the track a little bit. You were one of the guys who pushed me hard to write my book.
Why?
You did. You were one of the guys. You were one of the.
I don't even remember. I'm probably sure I said something. You should write a book. You know?
When we first were hanging out, and I remember when Anderson Silva was fighting Chael Sonnen, and we were at the place in is it Barhaven or Nepean or
Boston Pizza or something?
No, it was that place you go up the stairs at the back of the mall.
The Scratch.
No, the
Tailgaters.
Tailgaters. So we were at Tailgaters,
formerly known as Le Scratch,
and that for my time in
what a place.
But that's like the one where I remember it the most. But you talked to me a lot before that, and you sat me down, and I think it was before the main event. And you're just like, you got to write a book, and you know, you need to train jiu-jitsu and all that. And I remember you were one of the guys that really put it in my head, like, because from my perspective, I don't want to write a book. But you, my dad, my brother, and a few of my buddies were the ones that like really pushed it. And the fact that like your intention or your reason for saying it was so genuine and coming from a place of support and like camaraderie. And it's not like we were super bros at the time. And I remember walking away and just thinking about it hard, because if someone like you was saying it to me, I had to process it, you know, because I really respect you and Hammer and Boots and Pat because of like the world you guys come from. And I was like, huh. So you really helped me. You helped convince me that writing a book was a direction I should go, despite my own personal, like, you know, quote, modesty, unquote, or whatever.
Yeah, you know, like, one, thank you, because like I never knew that, because I just never knew that. But I think, you know, when I met you, and like, and we haven't really talked about that, is like how we met, and you know how you were a part of the first wreck, because you were a part of the first
I got
wreck.
in the ring.
Yeah. And we were trying to raise money for the troops, which, you know, we didn't because the show lost money. but we gave, you know, we gave $20,000 in tickets to the troops to come to the show, like
100%
to start off their Christmas break.
Right.
So we gave
right on.
$20,000 worth of tickets, and a whole bunch of guys got tasked to come. So I think that means they don't have a choice. And we honored some soldiers in the ring that
Yeah.
night, and gave them some plaques and honored them, in front of everyone.
How many
And,
people were there? 2,500.
Oh man, I think 2,500 or something like that.
So biggest crowd I've ever talked to was
Right.
that night.
That show budget $130,000.
Right.
Holy shit!
And you're just like, that's a lot of butts in the seat. That's a lot of sponsorship. That's a lot of like
For
getting
sure.
it together. And I actually, those are the best / worst years of my life.
Yeah.
Running those pro shows, but that, those shortcomings and those losses that we had through those pro shows really taught me how to be, how to run events and how to be successful in other things. Because I had never worked so hard at something and not succeeded, and it drove me insane. It drove me crazy. And there were times I was like so stressed, like I had to go to the hospital one time for one show. Like I had to call the ambulance because
like panic attack.
no, like I don't know what was going on, but like I got like this massive migraine, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, like my head feels like it's gonna explode, and I need to go to the hospital. And this is the day before the show,
Holy
and I'm like training this guy, a good guy, his name was Chris. And I'm like calling him. I'm like, you got to run the show. I'm all messed up on morphine at the hospital. So,
I'm having a good old time.
And he's like, no, I can't do it without you. And I'm like, bro, you could do it.
So
And then,
would you say you have your black belt in event planning now?
I wouldn't say black, just because I believe I gotta, there's a bunch of things I still gotta tighten up.
Yeah.
But I would definitely say like I'm understanding what I need to do, just because the amount of shows I've been able to do now, like in the short period of time.
Right.
So like I would say I know what I'm doing regarding that, and I
Right.
know how to do it, and I'm making Rec more of a show. So like when you show up, it looks a certain way.
Yeah.
We're doing things a certain way. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to get that UFC style and feel, but still family friendly, and great for the amateurs. And I try and make sure like the amateurs get a little bit extra from my shows. I try and have nice trophies.
Right.
I have really nice belts. Everybody that competes gets a shirt with a card on the back, just as a memento. And like all these small things you do make a huge difference for everybody.
The small things
what I
are
mean?
always the difference in anything.
It's just that effort, right?
Yeah.
So-
All right. Well, that's when we met, because I was at Soldier On for the thing for wounded soldiers,
Yes.
and you contacted us because you wanted to raise the money for Soldier On,
Yep.
and
It was actually that show
yeah.
that got me to hold 2 shows in Afghanistan.
That's
in
right.
Kandahar Airfield.
I remember that.
Because I was hooked up with you,
Yeah.
and I think you hooked me up with Louise Desroches.
Oh, yeah. Well, Louise was actually, you were already hooked up with her. You didn't know it. She was the one that gave the tickets to everyone for that original night.
Okay.
And she's still there. She's still at, I visited with the Chief of Defense Staff, General Vance.
She's amazing.
She's still in that job under the, like, this is 3 or 4 Chief of Defense Staffs later, and she's still there. That's how good she is. And, but I remember after the show, he calls me, right? And I go, hey, Nick, what's up? He's like, I'm like, what's the matter? We didn't make any money. And I'm like, what? He's like, oh, man. Dude, and he's like, you said, you're like, we lost money, and some of the fighters didn't sell their tickets, and this, and I go, hey, man, like, no one needs to know. Like, this is 10 years later now. We can talk about it, but I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm not going to tell anybody. That night for the guys that were there was amazing. Your heart and your heart was in it, regardless of the outcome.
Yeah, it was.
I don't expect you to take out a line of credit to whatever, like you still put on a great show. Randy, I think that was Randy Turner's
debut, I think.
First or second
I
fight.
think it was his debut fight versus Josh Hill.
Yeah,
Josh Hill.
I think he lost.
Yeah, he lost, but this
Randy actually lives not far from here.
Yes, he lives in Orleans.
Yeah, he's one of my constituents.
Oh, really?
I knocked on his door one day and I was like, "What are you doing here? You work all the way over on that side of the city." He's like, "I had to get away from that place." But anyway, it was a great night. It was a great event, and I remember talking to you, and you were so just bummed.
I was destroyed.
Like, be proud of what you did achieve, and whatever. Call me back when you do have a check.
That's right.
I think like something that Pat taught me over the years, is there's a financial success,
Yeah.
but the show can still be successful,
Yeah.
without the financial success. So from the organizational point of view, the interaction and enjoyment of the people that are there, and if that really works, and people enjoyed the fights, love the show. And, it just meant that, hey, we figured out one side of it. We just need to figure out the other side.
Yeah. That's what I had a great time. It was organized. Everybody had a chair. The ring was in the right, everything flowed smoothly. And, did you guys shelve rec for a little bit, like for a year or 2 or 3?
Yeah. Yeah. I just had enough.
So that was your decision though?
Yeah, I would, my decision, I think, it was probably is me and Pat, and I just, like you hold 10 shows, none made money. We did the 2 in Afghanistan. Those were like charity, and we associated with a lot of charities throughout the years.
Yeah.
And because we thought, oh, well, we'll associate with charities and more people will get involved, more people will want to come, and it's doing good. And we always, if you know me and you know Pat, you're Awama, we always want to do good for many
you're
people.
Good guys. You're on the good guys.
Yeah. But it did make a difference, unfortunately. But we still did some amazing things. Like we had a former soldier and former police officer, Brian Dick. We raised a lot of money for him and his family and his daughter and stuff like that. And like, I don't have any regrets, but it's definitely a big learning, experience. Yeah. And then, I lost my, shit more or less. I was like, I don't want to do this shit anymore, and I'm done, Pat. I don't know what I want to do, but I don't want to do this anymore. I took a break, but even when I stopped, I was still thinking about it, thinking about how to make it better, how to do it better, how to make it work. And I had heard about these amateur MMA tournaments going on in Ontario, but everybody was afraid to do a carded show. And I contacted this.
What do you mean?
Like,
they would just put on like fight nights or something, and
it was weird. So it was like on a tatami mat on a gym floor, and it'd be like MMA fighting, but it'd be like point MMA fighting. And I went and talked to the organization. I said, guys, nobody wants to watch this crap. Okay? This is like crap. This isn't like MMA fight. This is like an MMA fight with weirdo rules. I said, why don't we just do amateur rules? Let's find this type of... And this is when I partnered with OGA. And I kind of created, because I went with OGA, and then I said, let's do a carded show. Let's do a carded show like a real show, because I still had...
So carded, though, it means that you release the card of fighters beforehand.
It's a card. It's like a show. Right. It's amateur. Okay. And nobody had done that yet because the people had been afraid of, where the laws were and the hearsay and everything. Right. And I had this guy from OGA, Rohit, he's a good guy. It's like I was saying, even though I'm not with his organization anymore, he said, he's like, we can do it. We're under, the World Sport Accord. We're under all these other things. I got this lawyer backing me up. I'm like, good enough for me. And then, but because I was still tired of rec, because you get tired, man, being the guy, being on the TV.
Dude, you were impossible to get a hold of for a solid 2 years.
Yeah, so...
Like, literally, like, you wouldn't return to... and I'm not bitching it. I'm just saying, like, you were... and whenever I would get you, you'd be like, I'm so fucking busy. You don't even understand.
And I'm more busy now.
Yeah. But No, but you got kids and a wife now and everything. Yeah. But I just remember when you shelved it, I was happy, though, a few years ago when I saw it come back.
So what happened was I launched this amateur series, but I don't want to call it rec, and I don't want to be known as a guy. So I partnered with this other guy named Nabil. We had a falling out later, but that doesn't matter. But anyway, so I said Nabil, because Nabil's a people person and whatever, and he likes, the limelight or the attention. And I was still gassed from like years ago of doing the rec stuff, just because it's tiring, And I just said, you're going to be the face. You're going to be the guy.
Yep.
I said, I'll show you all the stuff we do on the back end. And then, I just pretty much, set up the show. I showed him how we do the show, and he did the matchmaking, and we created Heroes Combat League.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that was how, after Heroes came out, then everybody was like, what the hell are these guys doing in Ottawa? And then that made a whole bunch of shows start popping up all around Ontario.
Okay.
And people started working with OGA, and then people got pissed off about OGA, and they're like, they're so disorganized, it's not working. So a whole bunch of promoters left the OGA, created the AMMAO, which I'm now with, and I was very skeptical because I'm like, you guys are a bunch of promoters. You can't run the show. We can't run the shows like professionally, like the government needs it to be done. Get somebody to do it, Like I'm not joining. I'm not joining until it's legit, And I was skeptical. I was like, they're not gonna, they're not gonna do it, and they did it. They hired consultants.
Oh, yeah.
They hired consultants. They got better. They held training courses. Like, they turned it into a real organization that is consistently growing.
So
all the time.
Why aren't they the PSO?
They're just trying to get their international recognition right now. That's what.
So they got to get that, and then they'll get the PSO.
And then I believe they will get it. I believe that's the only thing holding them back. Right
so
now.
I know Nabil. You guys don't get along anymore?
No, sir. That is a negative.
Oh, because he was running one of the OMA academies for a bit.
That is correct. And
then that went away.
Yeah, and then that stopped working,
But he's such a sweetie pie. Like, what happened?
Yeah, it just,
I don't mean, you don't have to talk about it. Whatever.
Yeah,
you guys.
yeah.
But you guys fought on one of the cards, didn't you?
Yeah, it was kind of like a fake fight, fun.
Oh, was
fight,
it? Oh, okay.
And I'll be honest. Like, sometimes you got to do things you don't want to do, and when fights are dropping and ticket sales aren't happening. And me and Nabil said, I actually said, because our gyms weren't together at that time, I actually said, okay, well, I'll go against your guy in a grappling match.
Okay.
And his guy used to be a student of ours, so it was like, it's going to be like, oh.
You build it up as this grudge match.
Yeah. But it was like 10 minutes, a submission only. So if nobody got submitted, both guys' arms got raised, no harm, no foul, everybody's good.
Yeah, good to go. So,
hey, nobody got submitted, and, it was all good. And then me and Nabil did a little smoker there, I was completely out of shape, probably didn't train for months leading up. My big belly hanging out there as I'm like trying to take him down, and Nabil's like usually in pretty good shape.
He's like cordwood. He's like solid.
So
he looks like you could tap on him like what's that stuff they make those statues out of? Like marble.
Like marble.
It looks like marble, like his muscles.
Yeah.
Although I see him at the grocery store all the time, and I'm just like, how do you do? Because he's deep into his 40s, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's still
like 40. I think he's like 45. He trains hard. He trains every day.
Yeah.
So
he's the kind of guy I like wish I could be. Like I wish I could just like beat my body until it looked like that all day, every day. But I like my drinks and chips and
fried chicken.
Oh, buddy, have you ever had the fried chicken at the Farm Boy?
No, I haven't. Actually.
Oh, buddy, a pulled pork fried chicken combo.
Ooh-wee.
Southern food.
So good.
Anyway, I'm sad to hear that. I like Nabil a lot.
Yeah, I don't. Like personally, like we have our differences, or we don't get along, or whatever. We both tell people. I don't think I don't think he's a bad or malicious person or anything like that.
You guys just didn't get along.
It didn't. It didn't work out between us and our organizations, and that's okay. Like we have a great rivalry between our shows.
Well, that's good for business.
Yeah, for sure it is.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's gonna just dial things back a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit. I want to get a little philosophical on you. That's a word I made up, 100%. Hang on, what?
Usually make up words around that.
I usually make up at least one word per episode.
Yeah, at least.
So you got kids now.
Yes.
Yeah. You joined jiu-jitsu at 10. When will your kids join?
I'm not sure about that.
Ever?
I don't know, like
Put the
I don't know.
microphone in front of your.
I'm not sure.
You're talking into the side. Like this.
I'm sorry. I'll keep my lips tight on the
Hold on, 'cause
microphone.
it points this way.
Like
There
this
you
way?
go. Yeah, hey, buddy.
Well, I must be getting tired the wee hours of the night. Yeah, I'm
sorry.
not.
Here's my thing on jiu-jitsu. Karate, boxing, taekwondo, kickboxing, whatever. Striking, which is what everybody thinks. Oh, I'll take striking sports, or I'll put my kid in karate for. That's fat lips, black eyes, broken noses, concussions, suspension at school. Because that's ultimately where this leading, right? Everyone is like you got it because you were getting in fights at school.
Yes.
What's the principal going to do? Because my daughter hugs some kid until the teacher gets there, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The thing with jiu-jitsu is you neutralize without really damaging your opponent. And so I'll put them in boxing, karate, whatever they want to do later. But like as at 5 and 8, girls especially, they're gonna learn how to neutralize an attacker.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I see it. And then later on when they can control themselves, when they're 14, 15, whatever, then I'll let them throw hands or whatever. Because right now, like there's a zero tolerance violence thing at schools right now. And even if the other kid starts it, if your kid finishes it, your kid is the one that's getting in shit, blah, blah, blah. So, but what's the teacher going to do? Yeah, your kid hugged the bully for 8 minutes until I go. I'm not sure what she did, but anyway, right? You know what I mean?
She pinned him down.
But there's no damage. There's no fat lip. There's no black eye. There's nothing anyone can point at and go, your kid did that to my kid. It's just literally like, if anything, it's a humbling moment for the person.
Your kid stopped mine from being a jerk.
Yeah, your kid neutralized my kid's ability to be an asshole.
Yeah.
So that's the way I see it, though. But you have boys and you've lived this life. So are you saying you don't want your kids to get into martial arts?
No, I wouldn't say I don't want them to, but I would definitely say that I'm not
gung ho.
I'm not gonna I want them to do it because they want to do it.
Right.
I want them to do it and see it because they're like, oh, you know what? Like, can I train jiu-jitsu, Dad? Like, I
So do you take them to the academy or whatever?
Yeah. Another reason why I'm not saying anything about my boys in particular, because Lorenzo, the first one, is like, he's already, he's 2.5 years old. He's punching everything. He's punching me. Daddy, I punch you, Daddy. I punch you, And I'm just,
don't show them how to punch when they're 2.
I'm just like, oh my God. So, he's smashing everything in sight. And,
this is where you got to daddy up.
Yeah. No, but I want them to want to do it.
Yeah, I hear you.
Like, and I've seen this before. And again, I watch what Pat does a lot too. And like, I'll probably never teach them myself, and let them learn on their own from other teachers within our organization if they want to do it. And if they do it and then they want to stop doing it, okay, good, because I would rather say, yeah, okay, good. And then maybe they come back to it later on, because I was like that a lot through my life. Like, in and out, different things going on, different things I was interested in my life. So, what I found is like, I loved it. So I always came back.
Right.
So if they learn to love it, hopefully they do. Hopefully it will become a part of their lifestyle. Obviously, I would want that because I believe in it.
Right.
But I want them to want that on their own.
Yeah, they say that the parents that push a kid into one sport only, and by the time they're like 13 or 14, they're burned out on hockey or soccer or whatever it is that they're usually in Canada. It's hockey, but there's some soccer dads out there and football dads and stuff. So, but your overall life, your spirit of living life, you feel is reflected in martial arts, and it teaches you mental discipline. It teaches you how to look out for each other. It teaches you confidence.
Yeah, I definitely think a lot of my life philosophies I've learned, from training in the martial arts. And I cite it a lot to the students that we talk to. I talk about, you know, especially in jiu-jitsu, you know, like, and how jiu-jitsu is like life a lot. And you have some days, you have hard days on the mat and nothing's going right, nothing's working. But you know what? It doesn't mean that you're not growing, or it doesn't mean that you're not getting better, you know. And sometimes those days are the days you need to get better.
Well, that's the one thing I think for kids especially. I've heard this from a lot of martial arts parents, is they learn how to be humble. They learn how to lose. Like, you're not going to win everything. But you hit reset and you go again, and then eventually maybe you do beat the person that's always pinning you. But at the same time, you're learning to deal with the fact that you're not having your way. Like my 5-year-old, she needs to lose a couple jiu-jitsu matches.
Right.
Yeah. But she's 5 too, right? Like
Yeah.
5-year-olds, you can't reason with them. We talked about this in the last podcast.
That's right.
But you know, even for me, I think back, like, I wanted to do martial arts like badly as a kid. My mom was all like, I don't like the idea of them punching you or you punching people. But I feel like as a kid, it would have really helped me with school. It would have helped me with like overall life and stuff, because it would have put me.
It didn't help me with school. I was terrible. I was a piece of shit.
It wasn't until I joined the Army that I did good in school.
It wasn't until I met Pat that I stopped being kind of a piece of crap as a teenager.
Piece of crap.
Yeah.
But you're a teenager.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be a raving lunatic.
Pat had I was like one of those guys that like Pat had to like beat up every
on the
day.
mat?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For me to like, well, on the mat or in MMA, because he had been training me for MMA since I began training with him.
Yeah.
You know, so him punching me was like a normal it's like, it probably sounds bad. It's like a normal thing, but you know, like I was just that arrogant. Like, you know, we often talk about in the gyms, you know, we talk about the bad student. Like,
that was you?
I can remember at different times when I was that exact bad student, you know. But another thing, a great life lesson, and we talk about this a lot, and I even talked about it in the last week, because people in jiu-jitsu, and you see people in life get like this a lot too, is they're like, it's like the race of the Joneses. You compared to your neighbor. What does your neighbor have? What is your neighbor doing? What do I have? And you see that even in jiu-jitsu, you know, guys getting their belts or getting their stripe tape or whatever. And like, you have to constantly, you know, reassure guys and tell them, like, guys, you know, jiu-jitsu is like your life. It's your own journey. There's no comparison,
Right.
you know, as individual to you and what you're doing, you know.
Right.
And I think life is exactly like that. Like, you can't say, oh, look at my life, look at your life. We're two different people. We got different struggles, different strengths, different weaknesses. We got a whole bunch of different things going on, and everybody's just trying to make it, you know.
Yeah, but you can't compare. Like, maybe that guy goes to more classes. Maybe she works harder than you at home. Blah blah blah, and that's why they're getting their belt and you're not. It doesn't mean you suck.
That's
it
right.
just means, you know, you're not at the same place in the sport. So.
Yeah, so I think that's like a super valuable lesson, because it keeps you, you know, down to earth, keeps you grounded, keeps you looking at, hey, you know what? I just need to be happy for others in the team aspect, which is another great thing I think it teaches. And I just need to focus on what I need to do, and just showing up and getting that 1% every day. And if we get that 1% on the mat every day, you know, in 100 days or in 100 training sessions, we're 100% better, you know. And if we just took that goal in life every day, I think, man, it would make a tremendous difference, you know.
Yeah, during my recovery, I would measure like progress. I would measure in millimeters some days, not miles, right? Like, you know, if I put my legs on, stood up, sat down, to me, like, that was a success. And I try and tell people that, like, you're not gonna lose 25 pounds in 4 days. Like no, like, that's not achievable. You have to do it in a way that's realistic, and you have to want to get to that goal. And it's the same in anything that you do. And that's why, I don't know, I do not train martial arts. I want to, but I believe in it.
You will.
I will. Well, we used to do unarmed combat a lot in the military and stuff. And of course, I've been away from that for a long time.
Bro, I've been on you 10 years getting into grappling. We're going to get you
and
in.
I said,
we're going to get
open
you
up,
in there.
I opened up an OMA in Orleans. And what'd you do? You went to Rockland.
Name drop. I'm gonna name drop my friend. You know, I was talking actually with my main man Luke over here,
Mm-hmm.
and his name's P. McGregor.
Mm-hmm.
Car accident, young age, 11 years old or something like that. No use of his below his waist,
Mm-hmm.
and he, was a huge inspiration for me. Like when he came in to train, and he called me and said, "Hey, this is my situation. I'm a blue belt from out of town," and I was like, "Yeah, sure, man, come in," and I just tried to work with him, try and help him, and we really hit it off. But he was like a huge inspiration, because I was like, man, I'm like, this guy is coming here to train, and he has like no base almost. You know what I mean? Like
So he's paraplegic, waist down?
Yeah, waist down. And he is doing it, I had a
Awesome.
big talk with him. I'm like, man, you're a huge inspiration for me. He's like, oh, I just met you. I'm like, I don't care. like you are here and you're doing it, man.
Yeah.
And you're asking questions and we're trying to do it. And he literally, showed me. And like, you always say this to yourself, everybody can do jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. And you don't really think of the limitations, or you think about how hard it would be. Well, when I rolled with him and I was trying to help him and trying to find, well, can you do this? Can you do that? It was really challenging for me to try and help him find moves and series that we could tie together to make the jiu-jitsu effective for him. And, we worked on a bunch of things, and Mateo, another purple belt that's with us. And yeah, it was just when I saw him, I thought of you.
Mm.
And I was like, man, I'm getting Jody in here.
I'll be in there.
I know
I
you
promise.
will. I want,
He's back. He actually goes to your East End location here.
Yes, we were talking about it.
And I'm going to start going with him.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
What
I think you'd be very good. I'm very good at it. You're like a super strong guy, big guy.
Well, it's fun for me too, right? Like I like that kind of stuff. I always enjoyed grappling and all that. So it's it's just I honestly for a long time. Remember, when you first mentioned, I was like, because to me, I was like, your base is your feet, and I was still kind of just trying to get used to this whole like no feet thing, and that's like I said, going back 8 years, and now it's just a matter of where in my life can I put the time, because I'm a very busy individual, but it's gym or jiu-jitsu or like we get a pick. And I tried the gym last year, and we're going to get back in shape, and then and here's the other thing. I always said, jiu-jitsu, when you're new, you get hurt. What happened within, 3 months of you starting?
Yeah, it's true.
Some guy ripped your arm off.
Well, sort of. Yeah.
It was an aggressive hug.
Yeah.
We talked about this.
Yeah, it was an aggressive hug. It was actually like a free, it wasn't from a submission. And that shoulder previously had problems.
Oh, damn.
But it definitely happened pretty early.
Because that was my thing. Remember, I didn't want to get hurt while I was bodybuilding.
Yeah.
But then I just fell off the rails, right? Life happens, man. So as awesome as we try to be and fake it for stuff, I had a rough couple months there, and I think I put on 20 pounds.
Trust me, I've been trying to lose this 50 pounds for
50.
Yeah, I'm like 250 right now.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't look 250.
Yeah, I carry it well, thank you.
Yeah, you're all going. What do we what do we have for time here?
110.
I feel like Nick's getting sleepy.
I'm trying to stay interesting, guys. I'm sorry.
Let's you got any fan questions that came in?
Let me see here. I was looking at one for the man himself. Annie J wants to know if you could meet any celebrity or famous person.
Annie J on Twitter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who would it be and why?
Any celebrity.
Living or dead?
Or a famous person. Not specified. So your
let's
choice.
go with living.
Sure.
Famous person. Actually, you know what? Somebody who I'd really enjoy to meet is probably going to be sound corny, is Dana White.
You've never met him?
I have never met him. I have tried to meet him several times. You know what I just love is just to like, hang out with him for half a day. Never happened, but hang out with him for half a day and just like ask him questions about, his story, because I'm always interested in hearing people's story, and like, and how they came to be and like the challenges they faced and how they overcame them. So I would probably put, Dana White, because man, he did something great.
So, but you want to meet him from the perspective of you're trying to build rec and learn and help the fighters. So how did he do it? How did he build? Like, because remember like the interview, was it Tyson Griffin and no, Forrest Griffin and
Stephen
Bonner
fight,
and they did the interview after the fight, and Dana White's all skinny and he's wearing a shitty suit and he still has hair and he said the words, we want this to be the Super Bowl of fighting.
Yeah.
And it took 15 years or whatever, but they did it, right? They're almost too successful, I think.
Yeah.
In some ways.
Yeah, now it's crazy, but I if there was somebody that I could sit and meet,
yeah,
and hang out with, half a day just to like pick his brain and hear about his experiences and just get some advice from him.
Dope. That's awesome.
That's it.
So I have a question.
Okay.
And I know a lot of the people who listen to this thing also do jujitsu based on likes and shares and things like that, right? So as I'm kind of at the beginning of my jujitsu journey, I feel like setting up a good jujitsu game, and everyone's game is going to be a little bit different, right? Is it important, or do you find that it is valuable to be really good at a couple of basic things, or to learn more of like the overall game before building up higher? Like, is it better to know, like, like be really good at 2 guard passes, be really good at 2 guard attacks, and then build from there, or get like more of a broad base?
Yeah, like that's a great question, and I think I'll just cite the philosophy of our gym, which is basics mastered, like and everything else comes from there. So really advanced movement is just greater understanding of the basics, at least I believe. So I believe that through knowing our escapes from every position, through knowing 2 to 3 good guard passes, the foundational guard passes, which would be under, over, and around, and knowing your basic submissions and submission escapes, the rest comes from there. And I believe that once you focus on those things, like you will find the answers to the advanced topics, through a greater understanding of the basics.
That's like a lot. That's like most things. You need to know
the foundation needs to be strong.
Yeah, and then you can grow from there. But are you asking the 10,000 hours on each move, or like? What do you?
No, not necessarily. But like, you said something that made me think of maybe like 20% is going to give you 80% of your results. Like knowing 20% really well can give you 80%.
Look at Ronda Rousey. She armbarred her way to the
right
top of the women's MMA game.
Right. Yeah.
I agree with the Pareto principle, the 20%.
Yep.
80-20.
Yes, that's correct. I believe in that. But I believe the 20% is in the basics.
That's 100%. I think what Luke is saying.
For sure.
So yeah,
awesome.
he's saying drill your ass off.
Yeah.
Many percentages.
Any more questions?
That's it.
I got a adult at 8 a.m.
Yes, sir.
What about you?
6.
What about you? Oh, you spend 3 hours a morning with your kids.
Yes.
And kids don't give a fuck when you go to bed.
No.
My boys will be up at 5:30 tomorrow morning.
Beauty.
So
beating on my head, slapping me in the face.
So we should keep you here another hour and a half.
Daddy, round 1. Let's
Daddy,
go.
breakfast.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been Dope. You know what? We will have Nick back. I want him, Adam, and Ninjutsu guy.
Mark.
I want him, Adam, and Mark in the same room together.
Yes, of course.
We're gonna have a compilation of killers.
Yeah.
We'll call it the Killer Podcast. It'll be a special.
It's good.
And maybe we'll bring in like a couple of like gunfighters or something too.
Yeah, we need something.
And man, it was such a treat for me to have you here, Nick. I've wanted to sit down and do this with you for so long. And you know what? I wish we had done it when I first asked to compare it to today. But I feel like we've both grown as people a lot. And it would have been interesting to go back and listen to that one and then compare how we talk today, and the listeners could have like done the same thing. But
yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me on here. It was a pleasure. Always good to hang out with you.
Buddy.
Gives me a reason to hang out on 24 hours notice.
I expected you to say no, by the way.
And I was like, let me check. Let me see if I can make this happen.
I was having some drinks and texted him like, "Hey, you want to fucking come on the podcast?" And he's like, "Yeah, I do actually." And I'm like, "Whoa, what?"
Oh wait, it's for real now.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you said you were gonna be busy, bro.
I expected you to be like, "Nah, man, I'm busy."
This was just my bi-weekly check-in with you.
Yeah.
But no, thanks a lot for having me. A pleasure to be here. I'll probably be more interesting the second time. I don't think more content, better content.
I wouldn't believe we weren't interesting. I just, we're a little low energy. That's completely fair. And if anyone tweets us, whatever, we know, we get it. We're tired. Fine. Thanks, detective. But this is your introduction to the audience, and I'm a huge supporter of the Academy. A lot of my friends who seem people that I never would have asked where do you go for your training, they all go to you guys. It's almost like minds end up in the same place, and we can compare lists later, but you're good people, you're doing good things, and I want to support you as much as I can, and I know you'll support me and what I do, and I wanted to introduce you to the Jody Mitic podcast listeners, and we're going worldwide.
That's right.
Yo, follow me on Facebook, Nick.
That's right. Where do they find you?
Nick Castiglia, Castiglia.
This is Twitter?
No, Facebook. Follow me.
You're only on Facebook? Is this a fan page?
No. This is you have to follow me. I'm maxed out at the friends, so you just hit the follow.
Oh, you're so fucking popular.
Wow.
Oh, so hang on. So you don't have like a fan page or a Twitter or an Instagram?
I don't have a fan page for who, man? Like,
I'm just asking. Well, where do they find the Academy? What's the Academy's Twitter?
Ottawa Academy of Martial Arts. Twitter, I think, is Awama Team.
Spell it.
Instagram
is OAMA Team.
Yeah, OAMA Team. Instagram is Ottawa Martial Arts.
All right.
So
and you know me,
and recmma.ca. You can check us out there. But
you don't have social media. You got to get on that social media.
We have Rec MMA Amateur Fighting Championships. We got Rec MMA.
Okay.
And we got a bunch of different.
All right.
You're all up on the interwebs.
All up on it. We'll try to get some links into the description
for sure.
You know me, Jody Mitic, Jody on everything. You got your Coach Luke Rowan over there.
Yes, sir.
This is the Jody Mitic podcast, which is, just Google us. It's the Twitter, it's the Snapchats, it's the Google Pluses.
Jiu-Jitsu Jody, that's what we'll change his
Negative.
name to.
That's a big.
Good.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu Jody Mitic.
I feel like such a poser just having you say that.
Triple J.
Triple J's coming down on you. Anyway, this is Jody Mitic podcast, episode Trent, what do we say? 35?
35, yeah.
I should know this shit. We're getting better.
Yeah.
We love you guys. Remember, like we say every week on the show, or every other week, or maybe once a month, depending on what mood we're in.
Sure.
In this world, there's going to be bad guys and there's going to be good guys, and we are always going to be on the side of the good guys, and we are just trying to make this world a little bit better, and we're out.
All right. So after we wrapped up, Nick's like, "Hey, man, how can I support the podcast?" I said, "Well, let me tell you and everybody else how you can support the podcast. If you want to support the Jody Mitic podcast, one of the best ways is go to the Jody Mitic podcast website, thejodymiticpodcast.com. Go to the store, get yourself a T-shirt so you can put that shirt on so you can cover up your body when you go outside so people don't give you weird looks. And we got that in your standard issue OD green. It's got the Jody Mitic podcast logo on the chest. We are the good guys on the sleeve, because we are, and you are. And if you want to represent that, go ahead and head over to the jodymiticpodcast.com and order yourself up one of these soft-ass t-shirts. You can also support this podcast and support your brain and learn some knowledge when you download a audiobook from audible.com. And right now you can get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/the Jody Mitic podcast. So Audible is giving a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. They have over 180,000 titles to choose from, and you can access that on your iPhone, your Android, your Kindle, your MP3 player, whatever you got going. And to download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/the Jody Mitic podcast. And again, that's audibletrial.com/the Jody Mitic podcast for your free audiobook. You may also want to get your keto on. And if you do, if you're down with that lifestyle, get yourself some supplements. Get yourself some exogenous ketones to help you along your way. Increase your energy, increase your fat burning, increase your mental clarity. All good things. And you can get that and information on that at thejodymiticpodcast.provitnow.com. That's PRUVITNOW.com to get your supplements. And that's, again, whether you're looking for that weight loss, performance enhancement, or maybe improved mental clarity, the Keto OS is awesome. We love that product, and you can get it at thejodymiticpodcast.provitnow.com. PRUVITNOW.com.